Oh, what if I told you that the biggest thing ruining your life is not failure, not people, not bad luck, but the noise inside your own head? Right now, your mind is talking nonstop, worrying, replaying, imagining problems that haven't even happened yet. And the more you think, the more confused everything feels. Here's the truth no one tells you. An overthinking mind is like muddy water. No matter how hard you look, you will never see clearly. But when the water becomes still, the truth appears on its own. Today's story is not just a story. It's a mirror. It's about a man who lost everything in one night, yet didn't lose his peace. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why calm is not weakness. It is the most dangerous strength you can have in a noisy world. Stay with me, because this story might quiet your mind in ways nothing else ever has. The noise within. Have you ever noticed how noise fills our lives today? Not just the noise outside, traffic, phones, voices, but the noise inside. The endless chatter of thoughts that never seem to rest. Worries about tomorrow. Regrets about yesterday. Comparisons that quietly drain our peace. Even in moments meant for rest, the mind keeps talking, planning, replaying, judging. An overthinking mind is like muddy water. No matter how hard you look, you cannot see clearly through it. Only when the water becomes still does it reflect the truth. This is the story of a man who lived trapped inside that noise, and how silence changed everything. In a small, peaceful town near the hills lived a man named Michael. From the outside, Michael looked like a responsible, hard-working person. He ran a modest furniture shop that he had built with years of effort. Every morning, before the sun fully rose, he unlocked the shop doors. Every night, long after others had gone home, he turned off the lights and walked back under the stars. But while his hands worked steadily, his mind never rested. Michael worried constantly, about unpaid bills, about customers who might not return, about competitors selling cheaper furniture. Even when things were going well, his mind searched for problems that did not yet exist. His thoughts jumped from one fear to another, never settling, never allowing him peace. At night, when the town fell silent, Michael lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind replayed every small mistake he had made during the day. Words he wished he had not spoken. Decisions he wished he could undo. His body was tired, but his thoughts refused to sleep. More than once, he whispered to himself in the darkness, "If only I could stop my thoughts, even for a moment." One afternoon, after a particularly stressful week, Michael received devastating news. His biggest client, someone he depended on for most of his income, had decided to take their business elsewhere. The moment he heard this, his chest tightened. His hands began to shake. His head felt heavy, as if it might split open. Unable to continue working, Michael walked to the back of his shop and sat down on a wooden crate. The noise in his mind grew louder than ever. Fear, anger, regret, all fighting for attention. In a low, exhausted voice, he whispered, "Why does my life feel like it's spinning out of control?" At that moment, an elderly man named Mr. Robert entered the shop. He was a familiar face in the town, often stopping by for tea and quiet conversation. Seeing Michael's pale face and slumped posture, Mr. Robert paused and asked gently, "What troubles you, my friend?" Michael let out a long sigh. "My mind never stops," he said. "I try to fix everything by thinking harder, but the more I think, the worse it becomes." Mr. Robert looked at him with calm eyes and a faint smile, as if he understood far more than he said. After a brief silence, he spoke softly, "Come with me tomorrow morning. I want to show you something." Michael did not know it then, but that simple invitation was the beginning of a transformation, one that would change not just his work, but the way he faced life itself. The still water. The next morning, Michael woke earlier than usual. The words of Mr. Robert echoed quietly in his mind, "Come with me tomorrow morning. I want to show you something." Normally, Michael's mornings began with rushing thoughts and tight anxiety, but this time there was a strange curiosity pulling him forward. The air was cool as Michael stepped outside. Mist floated gently over the narrow paths of the town. Mr. Robert was already waiting near the edge of the village, standing calmly with his hands behind his back, as if time itself moved more slowly around him. Without many words, he motioned for Michael to follow. they walked uphill, away from the noise of the town, past trees that whispered softly in the breeze. With every step, the sounds of daily life faded. No customers. No machines. No demands. Only footsteps and breathing. After a short walk, they reached a small pond hidden among the trees. The water was perfectly still, like glass. It reflected the sky so clearly that it was hard to tell where the water ended and the heavens began. Michael stopped and stared. Something about the scene made his chest feel lighter. Mr. Robert bent down, picked up a stick, and slowly stirred the pond. Instantly, the reflection broke apart. Ripples spread in every direction. Dirt rose from the bottom, clouding the water until the image of the sky disappeared completely. Then Mr. Robert looked at Michael and said, "This is your mind." Michael frowned slightly, still watching the moving water. "When your mind is calm," Mr. Robert continued, "it reflects life as it truly is. You can see clearly. But when it is constantly disturbed by worries, fears, and endless thinking, everything becomes unclear. You don't see reality, you see confusion." They stood in silence as the ripples slowly faded. Bit by bit, the water became still again. The reflection returned, just as clear as before. Something shifted inside Michael at that moment. He realized that his problem was not the world, not his shop, not even his lost client. The real problem was the constant stirring inside his own mind. "But how do I stop the thoughts?" Michael asked quietly. "They don't listen to me." Mr. Robert smiled. "You don't stop them," he said. "You stop fighting them. Thoughts are like clouds. Let them pass." From that day onward, Michael began visiting the pond every morning. He would sit quietly, breathing slowly, watching the water. At first, it felt impossible. His mind raced, about money, work, the future. But instead of resisting, he remembered Mr. Robert's words and simply observed his thoughts without following them. Day by day, something changed. The noise inside him softened. His mornings became quieter. His reactions slower. He began speaking with more patience and listening with more attention. Even when problems appeared, they no longer controlled him. Michael did not become free from challenges, but he became free from panic. And this calm, quietly growing inside him, was about to be tested in a way no one could have imagined. The fire and the test. For months, Michael continued his quiet practice by the pond. The town noticed changes before he did. His voice no longer carried tension. His movements were slower, steadier. Even when customers complained or orders were delayed, he responded with calm clarity instead of frustration. Life, however, had not suddenly become easy. One cold night, long after the town had gone to sleep, a sharp smell of smoke cut through the air. Flames erupted from Michael's furniture shop, fueled by dry wood and varnish. By the time neighbors noticed and ran outside, the fire had already taken control. Someone shouted Michael's name. Another banged on his door. When Michael stepped outside and saw the fire, his heart beat faster, but something was different. The familiar wave of panic did not take over. He stood still, watching the flames rise into the dark sky. The shop he had built with years of effort crackled and collapsed piece by piece. People gathered around him, expecting tears, shouting, despair. Instead, they saw Michael sit down on the ground, his back straight, his breathing steady. He watched the fire the same way he watched the pond, without resistance. A friend grabbed his shoulders and cried, "Michael, how can you just sit there? You've lost everything." Michael looked at him calmly and replied, "I've lost wood and nails, not my peace. If I lose my mind too, then I truly lose everything." The words stunned those around him. That night, as the fire died out and ashes settled, something powerful spread through the town, not fear, but respect. They realized they were witnessing a different kind of strength. Not the strength of fighting, shouting, or resisting, but the strength of remaining calm when life burns. In the days that followed, Michael did not deny reality. He grieved. He assessed the damage. He spoke with insurers and neighbors. But he did all of it without drowning in despair. His mind stayed clear, like still water after a storm. When rebuilding began, Michael worked with patience. He accepted help without pride and setbacks without anger. Problems came, as they always do, but now, he faced them one by one instead of all at once. Slowly, the shop rose again, stronger, better organized, more welcoming than before. Customers returned. New ones arrived. But something else changed too. People didn't just come to buy furniture anymore. They came to sit, to talk, to ask questions. "How did you stay calm when everything burned?" they asked. Michael would smile and lead them up the hill to the same quiet pond. He would stir the water with a stick, then let it settle, just as Mr. Robert once had. "When your mind is calm," Michael would say, "you can see solutions even in chaos. Life will always throw stones into your pond. You cannot stop that. But you can choose whether to keep stirring the water, or let it become still again." And in that reflection, people saw something rare. Not success. Not wealth. But peace. A peace that no fire could destroy. The silence that saves you. Michael's story spread quietly, not through headlines or praise, but through changed lives. People who visited the pond didn't leave with answers written down. They left with something far more valuable, a new way of seeing their own minds. Michael never claimed to have mastered life. He still faced losses, delays, and uncertainty. But he no longer allowed his thoughts to turn every problem into suffering. He understood something most people never learn: pain is unavoidable, but panic is optional. Life will always bring noise. There will be pressure from work, fear about money, disappointment in people, and uncertainty about the future. Stones will keep falling into your pond. You cannot stop the world from disturbing the water. But you can decide whether you keep stirring it with endless overthinking. A calm mind does not mean a life without problems. It means a mind strong enough not to drown in them. Michael learned that clarity comes after stillness, not before it. Most people wait for life to become peaceful so they can relax. But peace does not come from a quiet life, it comes from a quiet mind. When the mind settles, solutions appear naturally. Decisions become clearer. Fear loses its grip. Silence is not weakness. In a world that celebrates loud reactions, instant opinions, and constant motion, staying calm is a form of quiet power. It allows you to respond instead of react. To choose wisdom over impulse. To see reality as it is, not as your fears describe it. Remember the pond. When your thoughts race, when anxiety clouds your judgment, when life feels out of control, pause. Breathe. Let the ripples settle. Do not fight your thoughts, observe them. Let them pass like clouds across the sky. Your reflection will return. Just as Michael rebuilt his shop, you can rebuild anything: your focus, your confidence, your direction in life, if you protect your inner calm. But if you lose your peace, no success can compensate for it. This story is not really about Michael. It is about you. About the noise you carry. About the silence you avoid. About the strength waiting inside you when you stop running from stillness. Peace is already within you. It does not need to be created, only uncovered. And sometimes, all it takes is a moment of silence to remember who you truly are. If this story touched your heart, carry it with you. Share it with someone who needs calm more than advice. Because one quiet mind, in a noisy world, is enough to change everything.